Talks with Papa.
Hey, Papa.
Hey Sandra.
So today we're going to talk about long distance relationships and immigration. So first, for everyone who's dying to know, would you care to tell people how we met?
The truth or the lie?
The truth. And you know if it's not the truth, I'm going to interject.
So we met in 2015 in New Jersey, in your house actually. A friend of mine, or a friend of ours, he goes by the name of Tariq. I was staying with him on my summer holiday, and he had asked me to come with him to come out with him, and he was coming to yours. And we get there, and it's your house, and I see this young girl, just I don't know. I hate to sound cliche, but she seemed like a breath of fresh air, literally. You know, I think you were about to shower, so you were like in a rush. I think you had your towel on or something, but you just like you were in your truest self or form. I think like most girls, I know that somebody's come to their house with like powder up or like fresh. You didn't
Thrown
even care.
away.
Right? You didn't care, and I was just like, wow, who's that girl? And I literally, I don't know if you remember, I couldn't say anything. I was so shy. I couldn't
You
say
didn't
anything.
say one word. I even asked you, do you want something to drink? You were like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah,
That was the only thing you said to me.
I was so shy. I was like, oh my God, who is this fine girl? And on the way back, I just kept on asking him, who's this girl? I was like, no, Papa, no, this girl is a good girl. No, I don't want any. I'm like, bro, like, what do you mean? I'm not a good guy. Like, please give me a chance. And I think this was in May of 2015.
Memorial Day weekend.
Right. And I remember going back to Nigeria, still nothing. And obviously, me and him would talk very often. And I remember in July, we were talking about you, and he was like, I think she's even broken up with the guy that she was dating. And I was like, okay, please, we'll ask her if I can get her number. And he sent me a message a few minutes later, like with your number or something. And I text you. I was like, hey, what's up? And next thing you video call me. I mean, again, I think I don't know any girl that would do that. Just video call a guy. You video called me, and we ended up talking for a long ass time that night. And I said to you that I was gonna marry you, and you like rolled your eyes, like.
No, you didn't say you're gonna marry me. You said I'm not looking to date. I'm looking for marriage.
Right.
And I said, boy, you crazy.
Like, yeah, you're like, nah, bro. Like,
we could be friends.
I mean, you also had your reservations,
right?
Like, gay. Don't you? I didn't know you liked women. And I was like, well, no, I'm not. And you were like, oh well, okay, we can be friends. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to be friends. And we just kind of went from there. We would talk every day, and mind you, I'm in America. I'm in Nigeria. She's in America. It's like 7-hour difference. You were just about to start applying to law school. I was doing my thing, But one thing that I know was our commitment to our communication. We had built I don't want to say a schedule, but we had built a lifestyle around our communication that it seemed so effortless. There were times that we would talk because there was so much to say, and there were times that there was nothing to say. We never forced anything. I never had to stay on the phone with you because of, because I didn't speak to you yesterday for 5 hours. Then I had to compensate the next day, and I don't think we set this ground rules, did we?
No.
It just kind of like
everything happened naturally.
Right, we just kind of like set that tone for ourselves where if you were doing something, you would text me. And another thing is like people always ask me like, how are you? How did you guys do it? How did you do it? And my answer is, if something is important to you, you make time for it. Like if you ever want something, you go for it and you make time for it. And I think we made time for each other in spite of what we were trying to achieve in that time of our life. You trying to go to law school and me, working on my fashion and my brand. We both committed to constantly communicating. And another thing that I came to realize after, even though I'm jumping now, is when I moved here, married to you, it already seemed like we had known each other forever, because
we spoke so much.
Right. The construct of our relationship was built on communication. That's all we had. All we had was to talk for the most part. Yes, I would come to Nigeria, America, or you come to Nigeria, but what we had mostly was to talk to one another. So we had talked so much that even when I felt like something, I could sense that something was wrong even by, not seeing you. And yes, people have the fear of infidelity and could she be cheating on you? It's two things. Yes, that person could be cheating on you, and yes, you could also be insecure. These are things that you actually have to identify. Which is it? Is it that I'm an insecure man, or she's an insecure woman, or is it that, this person really is cheating?
Not only that, the person could potentially be pretending to be somebody else.
Right, but another thing, the good thing about that is that time always tells. Sometimes we want to play God and we want to rush things, but time always tells. And I said that to you, at the end of the day, my intentions for you, you would see over time who I really am. You would come to find out. The world can have a perception of you. People can think this of you, or you can even do one or two things. It doesn't necessarily mean that's who you are. What really, sets that conclusion for anybody who's getting to know one another is time. In time, because I feel like our behaviors, our personalities, like dust. You can't contain it. It would always spill. So yes, time would always tell, at the end.
So aside from our communication, could you explain or elaborate how we would meet or how we made time for each other physically before getting married?
Okay, so we always would plan I think the longest was maybe 4 months away to meet somewhere, go to LA or just meet somewhere and kind of just be together and bond and just have our moments. It wasn't easy. It's never easy.
Costly.
Right. It's also very expensive. But I mean, when you really, and I don't know. For me, I think happiness has always been my pursuit. I've always been looking for happiness, and it probably stems from my upbringing. I've always been looking for something, and with you, it felt different. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that it wasn't something that I had felt before, and I wanted to get to the bottom of it, if there's ever a bottom. I wanted to find out, what does this really mean, So I was ready to incur any cost to come on holiday or have you come to Nigeria. I remember people would say, "Oh, this guy is just using you, Nigerian guy. He's in the industry.
He's using for you for papers."
Yeah, he probably wants papers. This was even years before I decided to move here, or or he's sleeping with this person, sleeping with that person. There will be so much said, but I think what's more important in the midst of all that smoke is, who is this person? What are they saying, and what is this person doing? Is this adding up? If it doesn't add up, you need to be able to you need to apply wisdom again to be able to decipher, is this adding up? Is this smoke or is this real? So yeah, for us, I think we would just make this conscious effort to see one another every now and then, and we would just try to bond, have moments together, travel, because I really believe in experiences. So we always forward this experience. Sometimes it could be, I've come to America I've come for a week, I've come for a few days, and you have also come to Nigeria too. So those things were the little things that we were doing just to kind of, re-spark the relationship or just keep it going. Definitely we would have fights and arguments and misunderstanding, because it's one thing to talk to somebody in front of you, and from their mannerism or their tone, you can kind of understand what they mean or how, where they are at as they're saying what they're saying. But over the phone, it's really up to you to kind of interpret whatever they're saying. So yes, I'm sure we had a lot of misunderstanding, and I'm
especially in the beginning, because I was not more of a verbal person, because I always thought that if you had to have a disagreement, it meant argument, and argument meant fight. So I tried to avoid talking about a lot of things.
Right.
But then when you explained it to me that communication is very important because this is all we have, I realized, okay, I might not be the greatest speaker, but I can write anything and everything that I'm doing.
Right.
So I was always sending you books.
Bibles, literally. She would always send me this long ass thing to read. Sometimes I would just say, okay, And sometimes I would really read it, depending on the thing. But again, there were lots of miscommunication and misunderstanding. And another thing is the cultural difference. I come from Nigeria. Yes, you're Nigerian, but you're Americanized. You were born here. You lived here all your life. As a matter of fact, you had never been till 2016, which was a year after we had started dating. You know, so that was another thing that we also had to navigate. Like, this is how things are done. This is how, this is sort of man that I am. Yes, I am traditional, but I'm also very open. You know, you didn't like to cook. You didn't even know how to cook, if I'm being honest. You know, and I'm not like sexist or anything, but I just like, I would love my wife to cook, or my woman to cook for me. Not that I can't cook for myself, but I would love that. I mean, yes, I had a chef, but to see that you would even still go to the kitchen and try and like whip up something, or even be with him, or like just things like that, I was like, okay, these are the things that I was looking out for. That I was like, okay, this girl is willing to become and unbecome, and that was very interesting to me.
So this leads to my next question. How did you know that I want to marry this girl? When was the determining factor for you to say, okay, I'm going to buy a ring and I'm going to propose to her? This is the one I want.
I think it was the summer of 2017 when I had come to Chicago for about 3 months. We were together and we had several amazing moments. We also had like several like arguments and stuff. But again, you and I know we've never really been that couple to fight. Like we can bicker about stuff, but we don't fight. We don't. I don't like. I may not have patience, but I don't like
disrespect.
Yeah, I don't like disrespect. I don't like acrimony. I don't like chaos. And you too. So I think that kind of helps us, or helped us. So in that summer, just seeing how we were, because that was like, again, the first time that we were just together. We were not traveling. We were like in your apartment, and it felt like a home. It was just us. I loved how you would go to school. I would come and pick you up, and we would, do things together. I just saw how you were willing to look after me and just love me, and be my friend, and vice versa. And that was it for me. We being in Chicago kind of helped us remove ourselves from like the noise of Lagos. When you come to Lagos, or the noise of being in New York or New Jersey, it was just us. And that's when you see, because I hate when people say tolerate. You shouldn't have to tolerate another person. I think accept. That's when I fully accepted who you were, and vice versa. And that's where we began our journey of vulnerability towards one another. Another thing is, I remember, because I don't smoke weed, I don't do any sorts of drugs. Not that I am against people who do it, but I had a problem with you smoking weed. And I remember you had said you were not going to do it, and I remember that summer you did it, because I don't know what it was for you, but you did it. And I remember seeing you, because I wasn't used to that. I remember seeing you high, and I'm like, that scared me. We had like an argument over that, but just how we're able to resolve our issues till today.
And then the next morning you took me out to breakfast.
Right.
Like, you went from, Sandra, I'm buying my ticket, I'm going back to New York, bye, to the next morning.
Right.
Like, baby,
we're about to even go to Miami. So yeah, and I think, and just seeing how we kind of like are able to solve our issues and kind of come back together, because it has to be love at the end of the day. You can't be who you are and have me be who I am, and then just have us change for one another overnight. It's a process. It's a journey. So I hope I answered that question.
Yes. So my last question, as far as long distance, is: do you remember the conversation we had when so at this point you proposed to me, so we were engaged, and we were talking about, I think I just got back from Nigeria, so it was January 2018. Do you remember when we were having this conversation, I was asking you, so what are we gonna do now? Because you're living in Nigeria, I live in America. I'm not going to move to Nigeria because I didn't go to law school to just go be a housewife in Nigeria and sit down. And you told me, like, Sandra, I'm never coming to America. We're gonna have to make it work. Did you ever foresee yourself living in America? Did you even think it was possible for you to be the man of the relationship and relocate for the woman? Because typically in our culture and in society, when a woman and a man gets married, a woman tends to put her life on hold and follow her husband wherever he goes. So what was that like for you?
I think that was really the most defining part of our relationship. So in January of that year, I like said, yeah, I'm not moving. I always thought I would have a dual life where I would, because I wanted to do other things in Nigeria, like in Ghana and Africa at large. I had a plan for my life, but again, God had other plans. So we had the biggest arguments. I was like, I'm never moving to America. Like, I didn't see why, because I had the access. I was able to go back and forth. Why do I have to be here? Like, you can come here as well. Like, we can find a way, But you weren't having it, because I guess you saw that it wasn't sustainable. But I didn't at the time, honestly. I didn't at the time. And literally a few weeks after, we find out that you're pregnant. And it just really occurred to me like, yo, this is real. And I've always wanted children. Even though you weren't ready, you didn't even want to have the child at the time. But I knew the importance of that, and I felt like God had favored me. This was my opportunity to become and be better. So I came here and I saw you, and literally the day I arrived was, I think, the day after you were diagnosed with hyperemesis, and when I saw how you were sick and all of that, I made that conscious effort to move to America. And that's how that kind of like came about, and I'm here now.
Part 2 coming next.